Can you see it before it happens? Can you spot pre-threat indicators so that you can do something before it happens? For example, not being there, which is the best form of self-protection. If you see things first before they happen and you're not there, you completely avoid the situation, then that's the best form of self-protection. Yeah. Nobody will ever have a laugh at you because you avoided it. It is what it is. I've avoided many fights and I'm proud of it. I know I could have maybe handled it, but I would have maybe got in trouble as well. Remember, after you're going to go out in this world, if you make a lot of enemies, when you go out with your missus, with your kids, you don't want to have to look over your shoulder every day. That's not a life. That's being paranoid already. You don't want to be paranoid. You want to be aware. Okay. So when it comes to awareness, I usually speak about 3 different types of awareness. Okay. The first type of awareness would be self-awareness. Know yourself. Do you know Sun Tzu? You know Sun Tzu in the Art of War. Sun Tzu used to say, know yourself, know the enemy, and they always dictate the battleground. Yeah. So know yourself, know who you are, know what you're capable of, know what you're capable of doing. If you know that you're able to have strong, solid shots that you can knock people out with your dominant hand, with your non-dominant hand, that's quite useful, didn't you say? And that's what you need to train, to get that awareness. Oh, I know myself, I know that I can knock people out with my right or my left hand because I've trained that. So this is self-knowledge, okay? This is self-awareness. What else? I need to know how I perform under stress. Yeah? I need to know how my adrenaline works. I need to know what adrenaline is like, how it feels like, about positional dysphyxia, tunnel vision, hyperventilation, blood rushing away from the extremities together at the center where the heart and lungs are, where it's the most needed. The cognitive shift that happens when I'm under stress. So I'll go from prefrontal lobe, neocortex to limbic system or reptilian brain. We say midbrain, because the blood goes away from there and gather at the center. So now already you're not able to make any conscious decisions anymore. So all these fine motor skills goes out the window. It doesn't work because it's not going to be retained by your limbic system. And that's why we focus on gross motor skills. So this is self-awareness as well. Know yourself, know the adrenaline, know the animal, know how to use it. Know that you can take a beating. It's useful to know that if you get punched, you're not going to cry like a little girl. You get punched and you're going to move forward because now you're pissed off. It's useful to know yourself and to develop that sort of mindset. It's useful to know how you perform under pressure. And that's very important. And this is why in combatives, we train under pressure. Because we want to implement these adrenal response and emotional response within our training. So that's neural-based learning, basically. So that you know what you can do when shit really hits the fan and your heart rate goes above 125 beats per minute, and knowing also about this, okay, your heart rate, how to control your heart rate, how to breathe in a certain way to keep your heart rate below a certain amount of beats per minute to retain your cognitive functions and therefore your motor functions. Yeah. So this is all part of self-awareness. Know yourself, know what you can do and know what you can take. Know how far you're ready to go. You need to ask yourself what you're ready to live for, what you're ready to die for, what you're ready to fight for, to die for, and what you're ready to kill for. Do you know what I mean? Very usually, it's your loved ones, are people that bring you joy and happiness. Yeah, these are the people that you want to save. Okay, these are the people that you want to be alive for. Yeah. So this is also part of self-awareness. How far are you ready to go? If somebody's coming at you and is offering you like deadly force, yeah, level 10 use of force. It's usually somebody coming at you with a weapon or multiple armed assailants. It's worst case scenario. Imagine the level of aggression and the level of violence that you need to access to eclipse theirs. Do you know what I mean? And that's also part of self-awareness. So that's the first bit on awareness that I like to speak about. Self-awareness. Know yourself, know what you can take, know how far you're ready to go. Yeah. Second awareness aspect would be environmental awareness. You need to know what's around you in your environment. You need to know what's around you, what you can use, and how to use your environment. So when I get some places, the very first thing that I do is I'm very observant. If there is a chair, oh, there is a chair there. There's a butter knife here on the table. There is a plate. There is this. There is that. I know that there's a lot of things that I could use as a weapon if I had to. Yeah. So when I'm starting to think the different categories of weapons, you got weapon by design, you got improvised weapons, and you got weapons of opportunity. Yeah, 3 different types. And then you've got different families of weapons. You've got impact weapons, flexible weapon, flexible impact weapon, projectile, tissue damaging weapon, environmental weapon, shields. You've got all different things that you could use. And then once you develop that sort of mentality, you look at things around you and you're like, yeah, that's a shield, that's an impact weapon, that's a flexible impact weapon. If I put this and that together, that's a flexible impact weapon. And I start to think like that because I developed that sort of mentality. So I'm environmentally aware. I'm aware of my environment. When I get into a place, like I get into a bar or I get into a restaurant, the first thing that I do is put my back to a wall so that I've got a good peripheral field of vision and I see what's happening. One of the very first things that I do is I get in there and I have a head count, a rough head count. It doesn't have to be really precise. You're not going to be like, you know, but you're going to be right, okay, there's more guys on that side, there's more girls on that side. Yeah, that guy's look big enough to be able to fight. I know I'm looking at this facial characteristic, the cauliflower ear and the big jaw, and I know that that guy can fucking handle himself. That guy's going to run away, but that guy can fight. And I look, you know, I look at that sort of thing. How many men, how many women, who can fight? Where is the nearest exit? So where did I come through? Okay, the exit is there. One of the first things I'm going to have a look at where the waiter is coming out or the waitress is coming out through that door, because I know that that door leads to the kitchen and I know that the kitchen leads to the back door, just in case. Do you know what I mean? So it's just an awareness, environmental awareness, of being aware of your environment all the time. It's not being paranoid, it's just you developing good habits and being street smart. That's what it is really. And then you've got situational awareness, okay? And situational awareness is understanding what is happening around you at that very moment. Who is in your immediate environment? Who is in your personal space? And people need to be scanned before they get in your personal space. Yeah? So especially if I don't know people, if these are people that you know, your loved ones, of course you're going to allow them even in your intimate space, which is the closest space, yeah? Because you know them, you know they'll never do anything wrong to you. Or people that you don't know, when they're moving towards you in the street, you need to scan them. You need to gather enough information about them to determine whether they're a threat or not. Do you know what I mean? So, and when you have gathered enough information and you're happy, then you might allow them to just pass you. Do you know what I mean? We're always looking at people's hands. I always want to see 10 digits. If I can't see 10 digits, I'm not happy. If I can only see 5, I'm not happy. If I can only see 9, I'm not happy. Because, you know, just to show you, isn't it? You know, I could be here, I could be here, you know, and I could be walking here. Yeah? You can only see 9 digits, but you can't really see the blade, can you? Or I could have the blade like that, do you know what I mean? Or I could be like that, do you know what I mean? I don't see 10 digits, I'm not happy. You know, because I know that sort of shit, I know how to be sneaky and tricky. So it's all about understanding what's happening around you. Who is around you? If people are talking a bit loud there, be aware of that. If the couple over there is arguing, be aware of that. The mum that's pushing her baby that's coming in your direction, be aware of that. The bus that just turned from that street there that's moving towards you, be aware of that. The guy that's just opening his door, getting out of his car, be aware of that. It's not about being paranoid, it's about just scanning your environment and be aware of anything unusual, any anomalies in people's behavior. Yeah? So there's something that I can speak about shortly. It's the color code. Okay, so somebody called Colonel Jeff Cooper from the US Air Force that came up with color code, color conditions for situational awareness. Okay, so it starts with code white. Code white is what you never want to find yourself in unless you're sleeping at home safe. Yeah, so when you're at home and you're sleeping and your doors are locked, your windows are locked, and you feel safe, you and your family feel safe that you can switch off now. Yeah, you can go to sleep. So you're on code white. Code white means totally oblivious to your surrounding, completely switch off. Yeah, very often when you're sleeping, you're on code white. But remember, a lot of people when they walk outside, they're on code white, and that's something that you never want to find yourself in. So you get people where you see people texting on their phone as they're walking in the street like that, looking down. They got big headphones there, so they don't have auditory cues. They don't know what's happening. The car could be driving that, they wouldn't even hear it. Their face is completely there. Their attention is completely there, and therefore they don't see what's happening around them. If I have to text while I'm walking, I try not to, but sometimes it might happen, I'll be like that. Because I can still have some sort of peripheral vision of what's happening. Do you know what I mean? I can be here, but I'm still seeing what's happening. If I'm there, I can't see what's happening. Yeah? So I don't want to be on code white. I want to be on code yellow, like your t-shirt. Code yellow means that I'm completely now switched on. I'm not thinking only about this. I'm still thinking about my business. If my wife sends me to get groceries at the shop and I need to get some milk, some bread and this and that, that's what I have in my head. Oh, what did she say again? Yeah, bread, milk, this, that. As I'm walking, I'm thinking about my business. But I'm still switched on and aware. I'm calmly scanning my environment for unusual behavior. So if anybody is coming my way, I want to scan them. I want to scan their hands. I want to see how they look. I want to see their body language, facial expression, facial characteristics, the way that they're dressed, the way that they're moving. Do they have some sort of swagger? Do I have any sign of aggression before they get in my personal space? So that I can determine whether or not they're a threat. Yeah? So that's very important. This is code yellow. And then in our line of work, if you work in security, or you're a bodyguard, or you're a soldier, or a police officer, or a secret agent, yeah, you will be in something that we call code yellow alpha, which is now you're not thinking about your business. Now your business is to spot the anomaly. So now you're actively scanning your environment for unusual behavior. You're looking at people's belt line for any clips sticking out of pockets, any weapon printing, any unusual behavior, anything that gives you a sign that something is not right here. Do you know what I mean? So this is code yellow alpha. Personally, because it's my personality, I'm always between, even when I'm relaxed, I'm between code yellow and code yellow alpha. And when I'm working, code yellow alpha. There's no thought here. My only thought is what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So that's for that. And then you've got code orange, which is you have spotted something. It's potentially a threat, but you're not sure of it. Something has caught your attention. You spotted an anomaly. Something happened. I'll give you an example. You're walking in the street, you try to be street smart, okay? Don't walk at 3 o'clock in the morning on your own, but I say, could happen. You went to a mate's wedding, now you're not living too far, so you're just walking from his place to his place. You have a 10-minute walk, yeah? And on this 10-minute walk, you're walking, and you see a bit further, you've got 3 individuals, pretty big guys, skinhead, sitting on the side, little wall, maybe drinking and being a bit agitated, and you look at them, and one of them sees you. So you see that first sign, okay, which is eye contact. Boom, you got eye contact with one person. And all of a sudden his face turns and there is group communication. Now he's communicating with the group, and all of a sudden all 3 faces are turning, now they're all looking at you. Yeah? Now you got your first clue that he's been talking about you. Why is he talking about me? It's 3 o'clock in the morning, they're sitting there, I'm walking towards them. Now he's been talking, now they're all looking at me. Code orange, something is happening. Now all of a sudden I see them standing and walking towards me. Well, now that's it, something is on now, yeah? So I go, basically code orange is, what do I have the time to think about? Sometimes it happens very fast between code orange and code red. It could be a fraction of a second. But if you've got good observational skills, then you can get a bit more time, okay? So code orange, what are you gonna think? Oh, am I close enough to my mate? Can I run back there and hide for a bit until I'm safe? Can I ask somebody to give me a lift? Can I run to where I'm living? Do I live close enough? Is my car parked close enough? Can I get in? Do I have the time to run there and lock the door and drive off? Is there anything around me that I can use as a weapon? Do you know what I mean? Do I have anything around me that I can improvise as a weapon? Yeah, that sort of thing. Code orange, what do you have in terms of options? Yeah, but very often between code orange and code red, things happen really fast. So I've seen him look at me, I've seen him, group communication, I see all 3 of them looking at me, and from there they stood up and they're walking towards me, and I'm looking at their body language, it looks kind of fucking aggressive. Now I know something is on, so it goes from code orange to code red. Code red, it's happening, the shit is happening, and very often from code orange to code red, there is also a heartbeat going with that. It's a state of consciousness, okay? Any normal person, when you're on code white and you're asleep, you're going to be between 50 and 60 beats per minute, yeah? If you're a sportsman, your heart rate might be a bit slower. If you're not a sportsman, your heart rate might be a bit, it depends on people, it varies a bit. Code yellow alpha, you're still pretty much calm, between 60 and 70 beats per minute. As soon as you hit code orange and you see something is wrong, your heart rate starts to accelerate and goes above 90 beats per minute. As soon as your heart rate goes above 90 beats per minute, then it will affect your physiology. Yeah? So you will start having that heart rate, you will start having that stress, you will start having that maybe that cognitive shift. That cognitive shift is happening between 90, depending on people, 90 and 125 beats per minute. Yeah. Once your heart rate reaches 125 beats per minute, that's it. Tunnel vision, hyperventilation, your organism, the adrenaline dump is happening. That's it, it's already happening. Yeah. And now you need to master your breathing in order to lower your heart rate. Yeah. When it goes to code red, now that's it. That's like, you know, depending on people. You've got people that are soldiers, people that have been seeing real conflict, people that have been shot at people that know their adrenaline. They can maintain their heart rate to a certain extent. Yeah. Remember, adrenaline is here for you, not against you. It's yours. It's your cocktail, and it needs to be used. Okay. It's here to save you. Your adrenaline is here to help you. So you shouldn't mistake adrenaline and fear, because these are two different things. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Well, code red, okay, this is if action, now it's time to do something. They're coming towards me, nicely, I need to start running back to my car, back to my mate, to my flat, look maybe for something that I can use as a weapon, go in the side road, whatever. I need to do it. I don't have the time to think anymore. I'm not into thinking mode, I'm into acting mode. This is code red. Now, one of the code that you never want to find yourself in is code black, okay? Code black is when you're completely switched off. It's a state of mental and emotional freeze. So we always speak about the 3F, fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah. And depending on what sort of personality you have and how you train, who you train with, and how you train, do you train to implement adrenaline in your combative training? If you do, then you will know your adrenaline. Then you will remain a bit calmer. Yeah. But code black is when you freeze. Code black is when your heart rate goes above 145 beats per minute, and now you're freezing. Now you can't do anything. You can't move, you can't talk, you can't shout. You've heard this story of women getting raped, and they try to escape, they try to yell, no sound is coming out because they're petrified from fear. This is called black. Never find yourself in this. And the type of training that we do is to teach you not to get in that state. Because if your family is with you and your family is depending on your ability to protect them, then you're all fucked, I'm afraid to say. You know? So don't get in that code black. Now, so you see a bit how the color code works, yeah, and how it goes, how the colors correspond to a certain state of consciousness, and it also corresponds to a certain heartbeat, a heart rate, yeah. That's for that. Now, very quickly, I'm going to speak about the OODA loop, and then I'm going to speak about adrenaline versus fear. Okay, the OODA loop was created by Colonel John Boyd, also from the U.S. Air Force. And the OODA loop is a model to make split decision. So it was basically created for plane fighters, like, you know, soldiers, plane fighters, to make split decisions. So the OODA loop, the OODA loop, because this is what your brain does on its own. Okay. But if you know how the OODA loop works, then you bring this process to conscious level, and that's really interesting because now you can make decisions in a split second. The OODA loop is basically a loop of observation, orientation, decision, and action. So the first one, you're always observing, okay? Same thing, code yellow alpha, observing, okay? I'm observing my environment for unusual behavior. If I see something happening, there is a source of agitation, I use my senses. For example, here I hear somebody's working outside, I can hear sometimes some noise here. So you see when I hear noise from here, what do you see me doing? You see me orientate my attention towards the source of agitation, and you see me gathering information about that source of agitation. And then I'm going to make a decision based on the information that I gather. It's no threat, and I'm going to act upon that decision, which is going to be to go back to my observation. So you understand how it works, yeah? Observation, I'm observing, I heard something, I'm orienting my attention towards the source of agitation, towards the noise. Now I'm gathering information. Based on the information that I gather, I'm going to make a decision. The decision might be to go back to my observation because it's no threat, or it might be to do something else, to act, for example. But I'm always going to act and go back to my observation. So you see, it's quite simple how it works. Your OODA loop, everyone has got an OODA loop. You need to understand that. Your OODA loop needs to be faster than other people so that you can react faster than them. Yeah? So same thing, you can use the OODA loop in pistol combative, rifle combative. It's very important thing to know. So that's for that. Now in terms of the difference between fear and adrenaline, yeah? Two very different things, but a lot of people mistake fear for adrenaline. So they feel the effect of adrenaline and their heart rate goes above the fucking norm and they start freezing, because they think it's fear. No, your adrenaline is something that, well, basically you got the amygdala. Everyone knows what the amygdala is, gland inside the brain. That it's the command center. So you will absorb the situation through your eyes, your ears, your senses, your feeling, even your sixth sense, because we all have a sixth sense. The amygdala is going to send a signal to the body, something wrong is happening, sound the alarm, do you know what I mean? And then you got the adrenal glands, okay, that are going to release the adrenaline, and we call that an adrenal dump, okay? There are different types of adrenal dump, okay? There are slower adrenal release and there are faster adrenal release, okay? What it is really, what you're going to feel, like I said, is going to change your physiology, So tunnel vision, like I said, hyperventilation, decrease of fine motor skills, decrease of decision-making abilities. You might have your leg shaking. You might have time distortion as well. The time might seem to be slower or faster, depending, And auditory exclusion as well. You might not be able to hear what's happening around you. I know when I had my first fight in the ring, I couldn't hear my coach. He was shouting at me, he was telling, why are you doing this, that? And I said to him, sorry man, I couldn't hear you. Then when I looked at the video, I was like, oh yeah, he was talking to me, he was shouting to me, he was telling me this and that, but I couldn't hear him because it was too much focused, my adrenaline took over and I couldn't hear. So auditory exclusion. Same thing, soldiers, there's been a firefight, have been asked, how many shots did you fire? Oh, I don't remember, 2, 3, 5, I can't remember. Do you know what I mean? So that sort of thing, okay, time distortion, auditory exclusion and all that thing. What you want to do is learn to use that, recognize these physiological changes and learn to use it. So the best way to know, to be desensitized to adrenaline is to experience it. And the best way to experience it is to train in that way, or to go and work the doors where shit will happen, become a police officer, become a soldier, go and do some bodyguarding, whatever. I mean, that's a bit quieter usually, but you need to go towards that. That's the best way to get desensitized, is to go and do it.